The purpose of this video is to perfect your in-game controller settings so that you can achieve peak performance, customized specifically for you and your style of play to give you the advantage in every gunfight that you'll encounter in Black Ops 6. Utilize this video as a guide to fine-tune, adjust, and maximize your gameplay experience by following these settings for controller in Black Ops 6 multiplayer. Now, real quick, if you're looking to be a part of a team this year, we'll be recruiting a lot, and you only know about those opportunities over on Twitter. If you're looking to join Carnage as a player, get updates about everything Black Ops 6 related, maybe get some double XP codes or even a copy of the game, make sure you're following us on Twitter ASAP. Like this video if you're excited for Treyarch to be back and for the launch of Black Ops 6 like I am. I mean, I'm literally decked out in Black Ops 6 merch right now. Share this video with your friends so you can all dominate, and make sure you're subscribed to Carnage, as we will be your #1 Call of Duty team this year without a doubt. But with that all being said, let's get right on into it with the best settings in Black Ops 6 multiplayer for your controller. Alright, so a lot of people are confused with the new settings in Call of Duty. It can get really confusing. There's a lot of them. And that's why in this video we're going to be going through each one by one, detailing what it does and explaining what to change it to. And I promise, actually I guarantee, after changing your settings to everything in this video for your controller, you will see a difference in your gameplay experience, guaranteed. So let's go ahead and start off by obviously switching your input to controller, obviously unless you're mouse and keyboard. This is a controller video. Then for button layout, this is really just something that you're not going to really mess around with unless this is something that you have changed in the past. This is just allowing you to change what buttons do what. This can be really useful if you're using like a SCUF or a custom controller, but typically I just leave this to all the traditional settings unless, again, you like something else. Now, stick layout also I set to default, but this can be something that you might have used differently in a different Call of Duty title, whether it be Legacy, Southpaw. Again, I just use default. Now, your sensitivity for Black Ops 6, so far, I have found that a mid-range sensitivity is good. This goes all the way up to 20 now in the newer Call of Duties, but personally, I'm finding anywhere between 7 and 9 to be my sweet spot. Now, you can also change between these as well. You can make one lower than the other. You can also switch around with that, but I would start with a 6 to a 7 and then slowly move it up. That's what I've been doing. I move it up every so often, every couple of days, and probably won't go above a 10 though overall. Now, simplified control preset, we're going to leave this to off. Don't need that. Low motor strain preset, leave that to off. Bumper ping is going to be off. This is something that you could switch. It just depends on which you rather shoot your weapons with and throw your grenades and tacticals with. So I keep this to use my actual triggers to shoot the weapon, and then L1 and R1 to use tacticals and lethals. Now, controller vibration is a big one. Now, this is something that it's going to take some time to get used to, but turn it off. Controller vibration can actually affect your accuracy because since it is vibrating and moving around a little bit, it can throw off your accuracy when aiming down sights ever so slightly. And this is something that I didn't believe, but back in Black Ops 4, I changed it. It's been a game changer. Never went back. Guys, turn your controller vibration off. I actually buy my custom controllers without vibration even in them. So next up, trigger effect. We're going to keep this to off. Now, here's a big one. Dead zone inputs. This is going to be huge for precision and accuracy when aiming down your sights. Now, if you don't know what the dead zone inputs is it's typically used to help with stick drift. Stick drift is when your controller starts to get some wear and tear, and your thumbsticks will slightly move without you touching them at all. They'll slightly, you won't know, there's no physical input, you're not doing anything to it, but they're actually moving a little bit. Now, you can see I have perfect no stick drift, because when I turn this on to do a test, they're right in the center. On both of those, they're right in the center. But see, if I were to move them a little bit, you can see this is where they're moving. But then they recenter immediately the second I let go of them. See? You can do a test, and if there is stick drift, you can use these settings to adjust where that stick drift is coming from so that it's not throwing off your aim or anything. But even without stick drift, I still make some changes that will help with precision and accuracy. These are the settings. Put your left stick min to 5. Put your left stick max to 75. Your right stick min to 5. And your right stick max to 99. I promise you this will make a big change in how much you need to be inputting, whether for your running and for your aiming. Obviously, you want maximum motion, range of motion for aiming, but when you're running, you want that to kick in faster because it doesn't really matter how much precision you have for running. So that's why I turn it down to 75 and this is up to 99. Then left trigger and right trigger, we're gonna go ahead and just turn those down to 0 because you want that to be instant. Moving on to aiming. So for sensitivity multiplier, this is going to be a super, super important one. All these will be left to default. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But ADS sensitivity multiplier, this is a massive, massive setting that a lot of people don't change. This is a game changer. Basically, there is now a sensitivity, which is overall your vertical and horizontal. That's, what we said was 7. We set that to 7. But now there's also an ADS sensitivity multiplier. When you're aiming down, this will be default 1. However, obviously, when you're aiming down sights, you want to be even more precise and more accurate. You want that to be slower because you're trying to lock onto your target and keep track of them. So you want to turn this down, and it would allow you to track your enemies a lot more precise. This is a game changer. If you've never changed this before, this setting will change your game. This can also be dependent on the player. You could start with 0.75. I wouldn't go any lower than 0.75, and 0.8 is pretty good. 0.85 is good. I usually sit at 0.85 to 0.9. Currently at a 0.85. I'll probably move that up a little bit. And also, if you're on PC, you can click that number and you can actually change it to even more minute variables. So like 0.88 is probably really, really good. Look inversion on foot's going to be set to standard. Then in an aimed advanced settings, there's going to be a couple things we're going to change here. All of this look inversion stuff is just going to be standard settings. Don't change anything in there. ADS sensitivity transition timing, we're going to change that to instant, not gradual, because you don't want that to be, you want that sensitivity that we just changed it to, you want that to be instant. The second you zoom in, you want that 0.85 that we changed it to be applied. So that's going to be set to instant, not gradual. Then third person ADS correction type, that's going to be assist. And then your aim response curve type, guys, change this please from standard to dynamic. Some people use linear, but pros recommend dynamic. Change it to dynamic. It's going to make a difference. And then this is going to be 1. Then for custom sensitivity per zoom, we're going to have our low zoom and our 2 to 3 times zoom set to 0.9. And then anything that's way more zoomed, you don't want that to be super slow since you're so zoomed in, like magnifying like crazy. You want this to be a little bit faster. So you're going to set these all to 1.15. Then obviously target aim assist. I'm sorry for your mouse and keyboard players, but this is going to be set to on. Then motion sensor behavior, we're going to put that to off. Then everything in motion sensor advanced settings is going to be left to be normal except for FOV sensitivity scaling. Turn this off. That is so important. Please turn this off. It'll make a difference in your gameplay experience. All right, now moving on to movement. For sprint assist, we're going to keep this set to off. Now we are going to add a slight delay. This has kind of been discussed amongst pros and players online. It's actually believed, especially with Omni movement and all the directional movement that's going on, that a slight 1 millisecond delay will actually be beneficial and helpful to making your movement feeling more fluid and less weird. So if you're getting weirded out by the movement and how it feels, add a little bit of a delay. It's only 1 millisecond. 1 millisecond is going to help out with that. This is all going to be on right here. Then mantle assist, we're going to leave that to off. We don't want that on. We want full range and control over our character. Same with crouch assist. We're going to go ahead and keep that to off. And then corner slicing. This is a new feature in game. This is something that I would recommend turning on. It's when you're going around a corner and you can kind of like go around the corner more in a curved, like smooth fashion. I would leave that on personally. It doesn't affect your aim. Then slide dive behavior. We're going to leave that to tap to slide. And this is a new feature, I believe, slide slash dive activation delay. I have it on medium. You could try short if that's bothering you, but it's just dependent on how long you have to hold to perform that action. I like medium because I don't want to like overdo it by every time I click, my buttons. Auto door peak, we're gonna have that as off. Some people put that on. You can try that. Automatic airborne mantle, that's gonna be on. Sprint restore, that's going to be set to on. Slide maintain sprint, that's going to be set to on. Parachute automatic behavior, free fall. Mantle cancels reload. This is I set to on. Again, something you can play around with, but I have that set to on. And then for a movement advanced settings, we're going to have sprint and tactical sprint behavior set to toggle. Auto move forward, we're going to turn this off. We don't want that on. Tactical sprint activation, that's going to be set to single tap sprint. Plunging underwater trigger and sprinting door bash, you definitely want that on. Trust me, with Tours being in the game, unfortunately, we want that set to on. Then everything in vehicle advanced settings, we're just going to leave that all to default. Moving on to combat. For aim down sight behavior, you want that set to hold. Weapon mount activation, you want that ADS plus melee. Then for dedicated melee weapon activation, hold melee. Armor plate behavior, this is for Warzone mainly. I think there's a couple game modes actually in multiplayer that now use armor plate. You want that to be set to apply all. When you activate putting on armor, you just want it to apply all. You don't want to just put one plate on at a time. C4 detonation activation all at once. Equipment behavior set to hold. Manual fire behavior, you're going to set that to press. Then in combat advanced settings, we're going to have change OPAD up behavior to ping, change zoom activation to sprint / tactical / focus. This is going to be the same. Then interact / reload behavior, you're going to have that tap to reload. Sprint cancels reload. I have this off currently. Honestly, also in certain gunfights, it could be useful. If you're in the middle of reloading and a guy comes up to you, you can just move forward really quick, like jerk your guy forward, and he'll stop reloading, and you'll be able to aim down sight and start shooting immediately. So it really just depends on your play style. But actually, we'll go ahead and keep that on. It's going to be something I'm going to play around with probably, but ADS stick swap is going to be off. Depleted ammo switch, that's going to be as soon as you run out of ammo completely, it's going to automatically switch to your pistol. You want that to be turned on. And then body shield / finishing move behavior, they kind of changed the setting from the beta, but you want this to be prioritized body shield, in my opinion, because it's a more useful feature than a finishing move. It just depends on what you want. You can still perform a finishing move, but basically when you hold, if you hold your button to perform this action, it's going to immediately do a body shield over a finishing move. If you double tap, it will perform a finishing move. So hold is just to do a body shield. Double tap is to do a finishing move. I think body shield is more useful, so that's why I would rather just hold for that rather than double tapping. Then scoreboard map stats behavior, just want that on toggle. And overlay advanced settings, I didn't mess around with anything in here. And then one more thing, just want to include this in here, guys. Make sure you turn your field of view up to 120. You are going to be playing at a massive disadvantage if you have this at lower than 120. Some people put it on like 115, but 120 will allow you to have a full range of view, and you'll be able to see people that you wouldn't be able to see in your screen if you were on a lower field of view. So take that FOV, bump it all the way up to 120. Don't put yourself at a disadvantage, please. I see a lot of people doing this, so please make that change. Then also weapon field of view, I put this to wide because I want the gun to be smaller. I want to be able to be viewing more of my screen. It's a personal preference. You can leave it to default, but wide is probably better. World motion blur, we're going to turn that to off, please. Realism is not worth the gameplay disadvantage. And then weapon motion blur, also turn that off. These are two things you just don't want off. Also, it can cause a little bit of motion sickness in my opinion. And motion reduction preset, turn that off as well. But that is your Black Ops 6 controller best settings for PC or console. Hopefully this helped, guys. I promise you, changing your settings to these things and the settings that I said to try around and play with, if you find what works best for you for those specific settings, you're going to make a massive improvement in your gameplay, especially with Omni movement. Things are a little bit different. Movement feels different in this game. This game definitely has a learning curve. It's probably the first we've felt since, honestly, I would say either Modern Warfare 2019 or maybe even Black Ops 3. It's been a while, but there's definitely a learning curve in this game. So use these settings, put on that 1 millisecond delay like we talked about, and hopefully these settings helped. Share it with a friend if it does, and drop a like, subscribe to Carnage. We got a lot of Black Ops 6 content coming your way. We're back, baby. You guys know Black Ops games are our home, and I'm sure it is for you guys as well. So hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one.